beings. You can join us. Okay, I just have one subject for today. Humanity, the failed experiment. Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. That's kind of the point. Just I guess it was you fail going upwards. I guess how can a world fail and still exist and all that? And that's well, it's meant to fail. I guess, but it's built to fail. It's been a failure for a very, very long time. Thousands and thousands of years of failure. so yeah, I guess that's the I don't want to call it a theme. You can blame all the manipulations here all you want. It's still up to the individual to excel at. Obviously, many just rather just fail. It's easier that way. Well, I've been through, what I've been running into, especially possessed people, that's becoming a new thing recently. So, more frequent. So, yeah, I guess the demonic realms get kind of, they get kind of angry. The next film is about more of what's here. And then I end up getting visits from it here and there through possessed people. It's like, okay, great. But yeah, it's more about the shadow elements that's here. So, the failed world, you have to see yourself as a failure. But yeah, as you can see, society's usually blaming somebody else for their problems, or individuals are doing that, government, whatever it is, whatever. It's like, it's like 8 billion people here, 9 billion, 8 billion, whatever it is. Everyone's can blame the government. The government's very small compared to the rest of the population. So, whatever. So obviously, you're here to, I guess it's just trendy to destroy yourself here. At least that's not the entire population. It's like, and this, of course, then again, you have the self-destructive part of society, but then you have the narcissistic energies. That's part of more of the religions, the spiritual religion that's going on right now, the UFO stuff. Even there's a lot of narcissism. And guess who's here? See how long she lasts. Here. Yeah, she's Nancy. So she might come back. I'm not sure what's going on there. Just to see, why we have her. I guess because Biden, I guess there's a lot of successful people are surprised that's even real. It's like, anybody that's surprised? Like, Jesus, anyway, whatever. The Biden thing is kind of interesting. That might maybe switch out. I feel like they are, I don't know. I feel like they are actually thinking about finally replacing it finally. I mean, it's in the headlines. I feel like they're actually wanting to do it, which have been hesitant. I never felt that before. Usually they just keep the corpse there forever. So I'm not sure who they're going to put in there. Not that matters. Just part of the game. The Democrats can still win. Maybe they'll put a potato in there or something. I don't know. They already got a dead person in there. What else can you put in a microwave? Some appliances, something like that. Test their just test it out, see what they can get away with. The washer and dryer. All right, as I'm starting common price sessions. Scheduler. Shop here. Yeah, put a kangaroo there. That's presidency, but anyway. All right, so there's different perspectives of, obviously, many that incarnate here do like a self-clearing. They connect to their dark side. Of course, if you go through an abusive family and all that, that doesn't help anything, obviously. But it's a test on. They're just trying to. The lower dimensions are just there to pull. Just trying to capture your soul, basically. Trying to own you, take you over. I mean, like I said, I have a possessed people. I literally have a possessed person that's coming after me right now. Like, what a surprise, So, not that I'm trying to get attention anymore. So yeah, definitely triggered something out there. So Yeah. But yeah, it's basically the demonic realms. Obviously, they're doing everything they can to, it's a game, it's a chess game. It's just, and there's nothing, I mean, obviously, incarnating here, we think we can take it, but then we get here and it's a whole different story. And it's harder than we thought because you're hearing the physical too. And obviously, there's those people that, so if you're here for just a physical experience, like the recipe of this physical body or bodies or whatever you would call it, the physical realm. Uh, I think you would think a lot of those that they want chaos here because they like the physical element of it. Because obviously in the non-physical it doesn't exist. So this version of physical is different types of versions. There's lighter versions. It's probably even harder version. I'm not going to go into that. But this, yeah. So it's like or they just incarnate here as long as they can, as long as it lasts. Nothing lasts forever. Of course, this place feels like it's going on forever because it's so busy going backwards. It's gotten so good at it. Yeah, it's just different aspects of it. Of course, it also gives a soul a chance to release a lot of darkness, the dumping ground, to dump it. But of course, it's up to you to evolve. That's why so many find Jesus and all that, because they need something to hook onto, or it's understood, especially when you go from the common man, it makes sense. But then again, like I say, with some of the spiritual communities, some of these people are becoming gods and cult leaders and so on. God, what a nightmare. Narcissistic cult leader energies that's out there. Yeah, they're all monetized. They're not getting messed with. I don't know what's going on with that. Like I know the censors are kind of careful around religion, but of course now you have this alien religion that's coming about. I don't know if they're treating it the same way. Obviously, it's another manipulation. So, but is humanity passing the test? I don't know. I mean, they're surviving. I mean, that's a pass, But is the world a failed experiment? No doubt. But that's the point of it. It's supposed to be a failed experiment. It's supposed to be a failed planet. If that wasn't the case, we would have flying cars, hoverboards. I don't know. We'd just live a more peaceful life. Of course, that doesn't always mean that's success, but less chaos. There's nothing wrong with that. Less. You hear about the Chicken Little. If you're looking into that, it's like every day it's the end of the world. Every day it's about World War III. So it's like whatever, man. It's just whatever. It's a bad movie. That's why I get funny with the wealthy people that are here that seem to like it the way it is. Maybe they just like to watch it burn. Maybe that's what they're into. It's like, okay, is this your thing? Sure. More power to see on that one. Obviously, it is challenging, but like I say, most of society is steered towards more decay, just self-destruction. Yeah, and that's the beauty of this world, but doesn't mean you have to make a lifestyle out of it. And many have. Well, it's too hard. I guess you say for the majority, it's too hard to not do that. Then they can, it's kind of weird energies. Some like to brag about their self-destruction. They like make their whole life experience to tell everyone how much they've lost and this and that, and excuse and whatever. It's like, geez. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So, yeah, there's different ways of looking at it. So, anyway, all right, Priscilla's here. Fritzy is Cleopatra is somewhere around here. Yeah, she doesn't show up very often. Every so often. So, all right, we're going to Earth, the human consciousness. Interesting. I also get the ape, the gorilla ape realms when I connect to that. Yeah, they're really good at destroying themselves too. We're not the only ones. There's pig races. There's all. I mean, we're not the only ones good at destroying themselves. Reptilian races. We're not here by ourselves. That's for damn sure. Yeah, we're not the only ones that just love to beat the crap out of each other. That's for sure. So, barbarian planet, however you want to look at it. Yeah, because look at schools. Like, you can't have kids go. Is it? Like, I remember a time when you can have kids and you can just not worry about them. Like, they can go run around when they're old enough and not see them all day. And then they show up, later in the evening that they're still alive, but they're okay. You don't have to get some crazy story about the stalker or some kind of uncle chasing them down or whatever, or whatever. You don't have to have that anymore. I remember the time I must have came in right at the edge of that. Because now, you can't trust anything. In schools, all the violence that's connected to that. It's a war zone, basically. At least in the U.S., it shouldn't have to be that way. So, obviously, there's a parasite on the U.S., but that's up to society to clear it. It's only so much you can do, but it's so much easier to be eaten by the parasite and be sucked into it or get possessed. That seems to be. Yeah, it's just hard. This is all. They want to do everything they can to shut us down, to take our souls, and to just, what the lower dimensions, it tries to grab your soul just so it can have ownership of it, suck the life out of wherever it can out of your soul or talent. Yeah, take your talent, suck the life out and throw you out. So I guess once they're done sucking on your soul, I'm being serious too, in your society, all the the Galactic Federations and all that, whatever. They don't talk about that stuff. They're not going to either because they're just so missing that part of manipulation anyway. But the lower dimensions, they suck on your soul like they suck on like a fruit basket or whatever. They take your talent. Doesn't mean they do well with it, but they just do everything they can, just to keep this show going. Just to keep this nightmare going for us. So, like vampire energies, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But obviously, how do you know unless you completely give up on your life? I'm promoting that, but that's what they do. That's what happens. Obviously we've had lifetimes where we've all been through it to some point. Some of us have been, not that I'm promoting it. But the entities are just suck on the soul, basically, and just throw it. And then eventually, like I say, like they suck your talent out. They suck whatever they can. Doesn't mean you lose your talent. They just take what they can get, and they throw you out in the lower dimensions whenever they're done with you. And then if you're not completely lost, you can come out of it. You can go back to the higher or middle dimensions or whatever. So, this is fun. It's not the cake and ice. It's not the new age, talking about astrology and all that. You can't talk about this stuff because people don't want to hear it because they can't handle anything. It's like, oh, well, it's weak. It is definitely a weak planet, that's for sure. Well, it's strong, kind of. I mean, it's still here. But society is losing like a bastard, at least in the U.S. Everywhere else, but U.S. is definitely. I don't know. Another thing about the U.S.? I mean, it'll survive. It's just going through a massive dark age, that's for sure. And you can say it's been a long time coming. Like the 1950s was just superficial. It was just, it had to. I guess you can say after World War II, it had to do that. But it's kind of an empty vessel energy in the 1950s too, because of the racism that was in there and all that, because it was obviously being manipulated, obviously. Getting into family life is kind of hollow, but anyway, I can go into that, but anyway, of course, this family life still sucks these days, but anyway, not all of them, but most of them do. Usually. Okay, so this makes the holidays kind of interesting. So anyway, all right, we're going to human consciousness, 5D. So this is kind of like our founder energies is what I'm getting. Now, obviously everyone has their own version of who that is. Like, whatever. It's like you write a book about it and then whatever, create your own cult. Narcissistic cult. Oh well. All right, here we go. So they found. I just found a founders. We'll just keep it simple. I don't know. We'll see what comes. All right, blessings here. Greetings use the higher consciousness of your world to hire a teacher, or doesn't mean that we're higher than anyone, Because as you can see, well, basically, even how to describe this consciousness, I don't think there's even words to describe it on your world. But no being can really, all beings go through the same situation here, as you see. No matter how higher dimension you are, it doesn't mean this world can't kick your ass when you incarnate, or if you're not incarnated. Because even if you're not incarnated here, you can steer away from this world, like become the opposite. Meaning, like you just become so disconnected, like no sympathy, no nothing, no help, nothing. Then again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a side of that makes sense, but having some kind of sympathy for a world that's going through this much suffering, it does. And there are a lot of sympathetic beings that realize this world is very valuable. It's just basically the tug of war, you can say, of darkness. It found itself in the lower dimensions, and it's not fully sucked into it, but it is getting sucked into it. But it's not. It's like a vacuum. Lower dimensions, it's kind of like a black hole holding on to the earth. Some of you feel it. And it doesn't mean it's fully affecting you. Some of you have actually evolved out of that experience, but obviously many have not. They just have to. It's kind of like dipping your toe in the darker realms, into the shadows. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's like diving deep into the deep waters. But you don't know what you're getting yourself into. So you might have some idea of it. It's kind of like incarnating here is kind of like incarnating in shark-infested waters to some level. It's something like that. So if you have to give some imagery from your perspective, it's kind of like deep diving in some regard. It's probably a better way it's like going into a forest. Like you're aware of the forest, you have some understanding of it, like diseases and all that. Like there's a decent side of the forest, but also there's different levels of it. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way, same thing with the ocean. Like you go to the shallow waters, or you go to the tropics, and you'll be okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then, of course, you want to test yourself. Okay, well, I did this. How can I go out further and test myself? And obviously you see places that might test your limits. Like, okay, that might be a little bit much. Like incarnating around South America, around Brazil area. Brazil is pretty toxic in some areas, and there's just toxic places. Third world Venezuela right now is going through a great deal. And so you wonder why is there so many souls incarnate in these troubled places? Well, first off, they can handle it. Those that are there, it's like this chaotic realm, and they can handle it. It's just, and they will ask themselves, what am I doing here? There is a massive soul growth there. Now, what it's so different for everyone. Sometimes it is releasing. Sometimes it's just it's gathering knowledge. It's becoming more personable with others. Like you're in like Venezuela, for example, you're either becoming more social, an environment where there's very little, like no materialism. Like you're in a society where just materialism does not exist practically. You just have your needs. That's it. Your basics. So you just strip down, because the U.S. has a lot of materialism, and that's like caking on fakeness. Not always. Sometimes it's for therapy purposes too. But also some are just, they buy these big cars and all this, and they put this fake persona on. Nothing wrong with that. It's eventually you have to come down to yourself one day. Maybe not this lifetime, but eventually. The showing off frequency. And, it's just another, not necessarily narcissism. A lot of it's just insecurities. So, but to explain more of why certain souls that chose are really chaotic lifetimes in general. Some do, I would say very few thrive off of it, because it does get old after a while. But then again, if you're a drama queen, The drama people just, yeah, because they live off of drama. That's a little bit different. Now, living in a third world country and nothing but chaos is one thing. And a place like Haiti, for example, I'm going to jump around a little bit. For Haiti is just like, yeah, it might feel more like a video game as a survival life. Can you, if you want to survive, can you survive it? Because there are a lot of elements there just to take you out, just like that. And the warlord energies, a lot of demonic energies are really showing their true colors there. And it's like, once again, a level of the soul. You feel like you can handle it. There's more to it than that. If you're there for punishment, it might seem that way. Sometimes it's for karmic reasons. Like I said, it's different for everybody. Yeah, you can't just say it's overall it's the same for. There's just no way of doing that. It's just individuals. You have. It's like a place like Haiti. It's completely chaotic. There's also places in Africa. Just now, places in Africa where it's all just complete utter poverty. Yeah, that's where it gets kind of tricky because there are souls that just get pulled into those realms. Some of them are from the lower dimensions or from different places. Some of them are from slave realities to keep the vibrations low on this planet. It's kind of like playing low vibrational music, low tone music. Just you put the frequency up, so you have a lot of suffering in certain parts of the world, and it lowers the frequencies of parts of the planet, and some people tap into it, causes chaotic energy. It doesn't cause entire chaos here, but does kind of open that door for it. And as you can see, it is hard for those. Well, self-love is it is actually one of the main reasons why so many souls let go, because they don't really care about themselves. So, and there's that is part of a growth process too. It's like you get to a point like, okay, I don't care about myself, but then you get to a point where it's like, okay, maybe it's your lowest level in life through abuse or whatever it might be, and it's like, okay, I don't want to lose my soul completely, but they do let their, yeah, I'd be surprised how many they hate themselves and just let the abuse occur actually, and just let it go on. And some of them come from actually wealthy incarnations. They feel like they never accomplished anything in those lifetimes either. See, the wealthy is of this higher tier, but a lot of them feel pretty hollow unless you're like creating something, a business or some kind of, you feel like you're contributing to society. Even then, doesn't mean you feel all of that fulfilled. So, you'd be surprised by how many being poor. It just helps you get to know more of yourself. It's difficult, but you see also yourself at different levels. You're to clear out some of your, some of your bad habits and things of that kind. Because you can see them. See, when you have wealth, not always, but a lot of times your bad habits they increase. Of course, when you're poor, they can also increase in that way. Yeah, well, that's it can improve it. It can also make it worse. You can always get worse in some level. But overall, yeah, so the US is having a bit of an identity crisis. Not all society, but it is kind of trying to figure out what it wants to be. Does it want to be a dictatorship? It has elements of it, but not full of it. You have your secret societies. They don't even know what to do with this place half the time. They don't have this all figured out. They just do what they feel like they're being told to do, but they know they're very small on the whole spectrum. They know they can lose it all anytime. So in society itself, it's just society can be slightly barbaric, not fully, because it is partially lost, but that's also the point. It's to add meaning to your life, whatever it is. But many choose not to. And once again, there's many souls here that incarnate here to just not all. It's a good amount. They just don't care about themselves. They just don't. They don't really look at their soul. Just and it's one thing of having vices like with drugs and all that. Doesn't mean you just sometimes just looking for a high. and you're used to that high in other realms and all that. Of course, also smoking just to get you through reality, just to get through all the stress and everything, just bring some calmness and just help you just release, this human agony that you're picking up on. But overall, it's just, yes, humanity has a chance to lose itself, but also find itself. So yeah, you can have the smartest beings in the universe, high vibrational beings. They come here to get their ass kicked. You can give them everything, give them helicopters, give them everything. They can still become drug addicts and become narcissists and just abusers. You'd be surprised how many just have all this success in higher realms and they come here and just abuse the hell out of people. Because they can until they get caught. So some of them are cult leaders, some of them are working with the police, some of them are wealthy individuals, some of them are socialized, and so on. Yeah, they just come in just to mess with others because they can, because they're abusing their power, but that they're given that power for a reason, and then eventually gets taken away, either through their looks or through their health or whatever it might be.